New York City, the world capital of culture and industry. Here among the towering skyscrapers, civilization is guided by men of progress and the wonders of technology. But for all this industrial advancement, there is a price to pay: pollution, the unavoidable byproduct of today's society. Every year, millions of gallons of poisonous wastes, garbage, and radioactive chemicals are disposed of in nearby towns such as Tromaville, the toxic waste-dumping capital of the world. Our story takes place at the
Smut Cave, Smut Cave, Smut Cave, Smut Cave. Good afternoon. Welcome back once again to the Smut Cave. I'm your host, the Spelunker. Every once in a great while, a company comes along and changes the face of an artistic medium. In 1974, two men founded a company called TROMA PRODUCTIONS. In the 40 or so years since then, they've produced, distributed, and created thousands of independent, sexual, horrifying, comedic, entertaining films, reshaping the nature of cinema. I'm here today with a man who is arguably the face of TROMA Productions after the Toxic Avenger, Mr. Lloyd Kaufman.
I'm trying to erase my browser history here. There's all this Grinder. Can you help me, Nick? Grinder. I don't want my wife to see.
Just go into system settings, clear anal history.
Thank you. All right. When did you get here, by the way? Minding my own, suddenly you're here with a thing on your head and...
Lloyd, I'd like to talk
Greetings
to you.
from Tromaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of the Toxic Avenger.
I'd like to talk about this world we're in today, TROMA Productions.
Tromaville, we're here
Yeah.
in Tromaville.
We're in Tromaville. You've called Tromaville their own genre.
I haven't called. The Cinémathèque Française did. The American Film Institute did. The British Film Institute did. The Foot Fetishes of America called Troma a genre. See how I pronounce it French? A genre? Je parle français.
I like that.
Couramment. And speaking of genres, look who's here. It's Sergeant Kabukiman, NY. Come on in, Sergeant. Whoa! Sergeant Kabukiman, NYPD. Great, he's been drinking, unfortunately. He's fell off the wagon after we made the movie. But join us, Sergeant Kabukiman. Arigato.
So Lloyd, how would you describe the films that are coming out of Troma, in your own words?
Well, I think the people who go to see a movie by Troma in a movie theater, they know they might love Sergeant Kabukiman NYPD, or they might hate Bloodsucking Freaks, but they know they will never forget Return to Nukem High Volumes 1 and Volumes 2. They know the people who watch Troma films, correct me if I'm wrong, Sergeant Kabukiman NYPD, they know that they're going to see something they've never seen before. They're going to go on a ride in the cinema, an adventure in the cinema that they've never had before. And I think what has also contributed to the great footprint that Troma has left on the landscape of movie making is the fact that we have combined many genres in one movie. For example, Romeo and Juliet. There's a police genre, there's sex, there's the gore genre, there's Shakespeare, it's in iambic pentameter, Shakespeare's meter. In other words, it's a Cuisinart. The typical Troma movie like Troma's War, Terra Firma, the Return to Nukem High Volume 2 now that we're editing. These are potpourri.
Would you say Troma exists in opposition to the mainstream media?
I don't think we're in opposition to the mainstream media. I think that we are movies of the future. We're the movies that the mainstream will be making 20 years from now. In other words, the movies that we made like Squeeze Play and Waitress and Stuck on You and The First Turn On, Vincent D'Onofrio's first movie, the movie we unfortunately turned down Madonna for. Those movies preceded Porky's, you see? And then there was a whole wave of kind of raunchy, sexy comedies, but Troma was first. And The Toxic Avenger. How many movies have you seen, including RoboCop, where critics have said, the New York Times did, these folks must have seen The Toxic Avenger, right? That opened up. So at Trey Parker and Matt Stone, where do you think they came from? They came from the loins of Troma Entertainment.
The sky is blue and all the leaves are green. The sun's as warm as a baked potato. I think I know precisely what I mean when I say it's a spedunkle day. And as I ride with my girl, she's my best friend in the whole world.
James Gunn, the director who brought you Guardians of the Galaxy, Sergeant Kabukiman, NYPD. Guardians of the Galaxy, he made a speech on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy in which I had a huge cameo, 2 seconds, but he introduced me to the 3,000 people on that huge set, the prison set, and he said that he channels me when he's making a $200 million movie.
When I say it's a happy go moi goli lucky spadonkoli day.
So there's a pretty good footprint where movies are the future. That's the problem, you know, when you're ahead, it's very hard to get how do you say? It's very hard to penetrate the hymen of the mainstream. And on the rare occasions when we, an independent movie studio, do penetrate the hymen of the mainstream, we are the ones, unfortunately, who get fucked. So it's a terrible business. It's very depressing.
Someone has to penetrate that hymen.
Well, Rupert, the problem is that, you know, you've got 5 or 6 giant conglomerates, and Amazon and Netflix. They're the ones who own the game. And the rules that used to protect the public against monopoly have pretty much been done away with. So it's okay for 21st century Fox, Rupert Murdoch, or Viacom, Paramount, MTV, whatever. They can be vertically integrated and they can own what they call content. I prefer to call it art. They call it content or product. They can own what they show, what they broadcast. That used to be against the law. It used to be that the big studios were not allowed to own movie theaters. Now they own and control the movie theaters. So that really hurt the genuinely independent movie studio. And if you want proof of that, find me another independent movie studio that's 42 years old, other than Troma.
Our next superhuman hero protects creatures in the ocean. Please give a warm Tromaville welcome to Dolphin Man.
Oh my gosh, it's Dolphin Man. Come on. Swim over here, Dolphin Man. This is great. Be careful now. This is it's very wet here. My pants are a little wet, so you've got some, you feel a little better, but you breathe oxygen.
I've noticed that now on YouTube, you offer a lot of your movies for free. And I was curious about that, how you've embraced this free internet culture.
Well, we would not be here. In fact, Dolphin Man would never have been able to afford his bar Dolph Mitzah. He's the only Jewish dolphin that I know of, at least the only one in Manhattan. Thanks to our fans, we're still here. So when we turned 40, when we had our 40th year, it was actually Dolphin Man's idea. We should give back to the fans, and we've put up about 300 movies, and every day we put up new content.
So you've really embraced the internet as a means of distributing your works, connecting with fans, and I think that just goes to show how we're at an interesting point in history where the internet is such a tool for filmmakers and the art of film. And I think it's really evolving, and I think Troma's evolving with it. Would you say that's true?
Yes, we wouldn't be here without the internet. The internet is a great democratic medium. The internet's the last democratic medium. It permits us to talk to our fans to talk to us. It's the last level playing field, the last democratic medium, and there are evil forces, phone companies, Rupert Murdoch, Viacom. They all want to get rid of net neutrality on the internet because they want to have a superhighway that will be expensive for their websites and their platforms, and then the rest of us, including Smut Cave, we're going to be on the dirt road that'll take a long time to buffer, and we're going to be FUCK. Duh.
It's a dire situation.
It is.
I feel the pressure as much as you do.
Yeah, you know, there's a certain elite that makes a lot of money from the lack of the internet, right? You know, the fact that the angry video game nerd is independent and very successful thanks to the internet, they don't want that. They want to own him. They want to own Troma. They want to own everything. And if they can shut us all off, they don't need to worry about us as competition. They can just own everything. They got it to themselves. The way TV was for most of my lifetime, right, Dolphin Man? Well, you've just been bar mitzvahed, so what do you know?
So then, what do you see in the future for Troma Films?
Well, the Toxic Avenger and Troma, I think, have a life of their own. I think I will throw off these mortal coils hopefully very soon. And the company will go on and probably do a lot better once I move out of the way. You know, 8 years is usually what is a good term for a leader, and I've been there for 42 years. So the best thing that could happen to Troma is that, you know, I make a noise like a frog. And speaking of frogs, oh, that's Toxie. Toxie, come on down. It's the Toxic Avenger. Look at him. He's so excited. He really loves the cave, the Smut Cave, Nick. Hi, Toxie. Toxie's very excited to see you.
We're happy to have him here.
Yeah, this is great. Oh, he's looking at you, Nick.
Okay.
Toxie, I don't know.
So, wrapping up then, I'll ask a question that I ask all of my guests, which is, what's the worst thing you've ever seen on the internet?
Worst thing I've seen on the internet? Rosie O'Donnell, maybe? I don't know. What did other people say that they saw on the internet?
Oh, various forms of pornography, mutilations.
Oh, see, I don't go there. I don't. Right? We don't go there. Toxie's clean cut.
You create your own visions of these things.
Well, our movies are not really scary. They're comedy. They're satire. Actually, they're satire. That's what influenced the South Park guys. They were big Troma fans, and the violence they put in Cannibal the Musical is straight out of Troma. It's Grand Guignol. It's cartoon violence. There's a big difference, you know. When Daffy Duck gets squashed by a steamroller, you know, that's not real. And when Sergeant Kabukiman NYPD got squashed by a steamroller in his movie, people laughed. Nobody. But if you saw a real person, you know. But our stuff is cartoon violence. So it's a big difference between that and Spielberg's thing with the army. What was it? Where the people have their arms cut off and all that.
E.T.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, Lloyd, let me thank you for bringing these visions to the people for so many years with Troma and all the movies you put out there and all the strange and exotic visions that you shared with these people and inspired so many people with what you've done.
Well, thank you, Nick, and thank you to Smut Cave for, you know, I've been waiting 42 years to get on Smut Cave, and this really is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, I think, other than having to live on this unfair planet. And what's going to happen to this big blue marble of ours? I can't. The ocean, the Kuna Indians are going to get all inundated, and everybody's going to die. Toxic. This is horrible. I don't want to be on my life. This interview, I understand it now. My life is wasted. I'm wasted. Toxie, what are you doing? Why don't want this mop? Oh, Toxie, you're traumatized. No, Toxie. Oh, no. I have nothing to live for. I hate my life. I just want to die.
So Melvin, the monster hero, rid Tromaville of all of its evils so the good citizens could live their lives in peace and happiness.
Smut Cave, Smut Cave, Smut Cave, Smut Cave.